actually been talking about raising resilient children, particularly as it relates to this new normal, where many parents are looking for strategies to invest in their children, beside learning new platforms and learning how to get online for the new form of teaching right now. A lot of parents are trying to figure out, what do I do with my children, especially those that are school age children. And I couldn't think of a better person than Dr. Del Rosario. I'm going to bring her on in a moment, and she's going to be popping up in a moment. I'm giving you an opportunity really to connect. But let me tell you a little bit about her. She's a formidable voice in terms of the family. And I know families are under attack right now, not just marriages, but family, period. And during our time of sequestered home life and work life that has been combined, many parents now have become chief educating officers, CEO, chief education officers in their own home, and finding the balance and looking for tools. And I couldn't think of a better person than Dr. Del Rosario. She is also a support to many schools throughout the United States of America. She has spent her life, dedicated her life in strengthening our teens, empowering them, and in community building. Her organization, ReCapturing the Vision, really is an organization that she's using to help kids dream again. And I think there's a lot of people that are suffering from what I call possibility blindness. And this is one woman that gives not only teachers and students the opportunity to wear a different set of glasses. She also extends it to parents. And it all started with one woman and a vision. And now she's helping individuals around the world and nations to find their method of recapturing or refocusing on things that really matter. She's a former educator, a tireless champion for Americans youth. And in 2003, and I'm reading from her resume, 2003, she was awarded the Humanitarian of the Year for the National Abstinence Clearinghouse and a state designated Vessel of Honors Day in recognition of her stellar work around teen pregnancy prevention. And in 2004, Dr. Del Rosario was nominated to the President's Advisory Board on HIV and AIDS. I can go on and on about her. She has guest appearance in CNN, Channel 10 in Miami. She's flying from New York to California and back to Florida and many states in between, really helping to lead and helping to advocate for healthy marriages. And one of our radio talk show hosts, Making Marriage Work, this was started in 2008. And now you can hear her all over social media. She is a formidable voice. She resides with her husband and her two boys, or she used to reside with two boys, but with her and her husband in Florida. And I want to welcome Dr. Del Rosario. So here she is, and you're going to be seeing her momentarily. Welcome. And I'm excited, amidst everything that I said about you, you are a global thinker, you are a global influencer, and you're doing so many things to ensure that we make sure that we recapture the vision. And it started out with one woman and a vision. And incidentally, she happens to be my best friend in the whole world. And so I want to welcome you. I want to welcome you. This is going to be an exciting conversation for teachers, for principals, and for parents in particular. And right now, we are having challenges. Parents are having challenges. Teachers are having challenges. Huge challenge within the workforce because we're trying to bridge the gap between education and the workforce. So you are the best person to talk about it. But before we get into talking about our topic for the day, I'm going to ask you what I call rapid fire question. And,
Uh-oh.
and these questions really are for our viewers to get to know you.
Okay.
So now, what is your favorite color?
You know, it's so funny because I don't have one. Someone
You-
asked me that recently. I don't have a favorite color.
My husband, we had this big conversation on Friday, so it's amazing that you are saying that. It depends on what season I'm in. So right now, I don't have a favorite color either, but I'm leaning towards white only because it's clean,
Hmm.
and I'm doing a lot online now. So white, you can put any piece of jewelry on top of it, and away you go. So that's what
But I
I'm leaning
love colors
toward.
that look good on me. So I
Yeah.
like celery green. I like pinks. I like
Mhm.
anything that's bright and that pops. Fuchsias,
Mhm.
but I don't have a favorite color.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if that's fortunate or unfortunate.
I think that's fortunate. It means that you could carry everything off.
I
All
do
right.
have a favorite number though.
Yes.
So five.
5 is your favorite number. Tell
Yeah,
me
it's
why.
really 5 and 10.
Okay, 5 and 10.
Something about the fact that you can calculate most mathematical equations if you understand clearly how the factor five plays.
Mhm.
So
Oh,
5 and 10, those
cool.
are my favorite numbers.
That's cool. That's cool. All right. So, if you were stranded on an island
Oh God.
for 3 weeks,
Okay.
who would be your favorite historical figure to be stranded with and why?
Historical figure. You know my first one.
Yes.
Jeezy.
Yes.
Jesus.
Yes.
But aside from him, I would probably say somebody like a Harriet Tubman.
Okay, and why?
Because first of all, I think she understood the terrain. She would know how to probably live out in the wild because she did it so well for so long. And then the other thing is, I felt that she's a woman of courage,
Mhm.
right? And she's a woman of conviction, like I am. I'm very
Mhm.
driven by my beliefs and my principles. And
Mhm.
so I think that we have a lot in common and we could kind of share. And I would think that that would be a situation where iron would sharpen iron. I would
Mhm.
come away feeling empowered,
Mhm.
probably having teased through some of the unresolved things in my life. You know how you
Mhm.
every time you kind of go from one level to the next, it's like you have to kind of reestablish yourself at that new level, understanding who you are at this level. What are your thought processes? What do you need to adjust or amend? And
Mhm.
so I think I would kind of do that with Harriet,
Okay, that's
the
really, really
bad mama
good.
jamma.
Yes, indeed. I'm gonna float her as a balloon because I'm gonna come back because it has a lot to do with vision.
Mhm.
So if you were stranded again, 3 weeks on an island,
It's a lot of stranding. We got to
I
get
know, with one
stuck,
person,
right?
with one contemporary figure, who would that be?
Probably Michelle Obama.
Tell me why.
Well, I met her. I hosted her the very first election, and I think that now America sees her the way I saw her way back then. She
Hmm.
couldn't be president.
Hmm.
I saw that the very first time I met her. And she shared about how she spent her time helping on the campaign trail, but balancing it between being a really good mom and how she would just stretch her. She was doing the same things that I was doing. I would do all dayers, leave at like 4 in the morning, catch a plane, go to DC, work on the Hill, come back in time to see my kids tucked away for bed. You know, I don't
Hmm.
know. She's fearless.
Hmm.
She's very comfortable in her skin. And I think that that's a phrase that we need to temper because people say that I'm comfortable in my skin. You're comfortable for now. But as we go through the different ebbs and flows in our life, we readjust and we become comfortable again.
Hmm.
But she's a woman that I think is unapologetically herself,
Hmm. Hmm.
and that
Okay.
that spoke a lot to me. So
Favorite,
definitely Michelle.
definitely Michelle. Okay, favorite book. And I'll
Mm,
give you two. I'll give you two and why.
well, um, oh my goodness, I'm forgetting. It's right up here.
It
Commanding Your Morning
yes.
and The Law of Recognition.
Okay.
So Commanding Your Morning is by Dr. Cindy Trimm. So I
Uh,
read that when I was at a very, very big juncture in my life. So
mhm,
I'd been somewhere at one of your events. I read the book on the plane going home.
mhm,
And it helped to solidify some things that were kind of like, you know how God starts to take you through different phases and
Mhm.
you're kind of grasping it, but it's not yet concrete. Made
Mhm.
everything concrete.
Mhm.
The Law of Recognition, everybody should read this book because it's a simple read. I mean, it doesn't matter whether it's time sensitive, relating to a certain period in your life or not. It's just common information that it gives you. I think is really important. It talks about how some of the very things that are going on in our life we don't recognize. I think that that's
Mhm.
so clandestine. This
Mhm.
notion around I need to be able to recognize certain things that are going on, because what I found is most of the things that you need to be drawing into your life are things that we normally propel
Mhm.
because they're uncomfortable
Mhm.
and they're not pleasing. And
Mhm.
so that book kind of taught me that. Like, I'll give you one point. The fact that, how do you recognize a mentor? You
Mhm.
recognize a mentor because they're going to make you feel small.
Mhm.
They make you feel as if maybe you're not living up to your potential. But
Mhm.
guess what? If you understand that that's what it is, you will embrace the mentor. Whereas I think a lot of people run from them because they don't realize it. That's the way you're supposed to feel, and that's
And
there.
they're mixing it up with insecurities, with their
Oh,
insecurities, you know?
absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
because, I think you made a good point there in terms of mentor, because and this is so apropos because you have a mentorship program.
I do.
And yeah, which is exciting.
That was a nice lead in, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah, that was a nice lead in. And I think, even now, parents that are becoming teachers, at least for now, or proctors, at least for now, they need that mentorship. What do I do with my children? And today we really need to look at raising resilient children. And you've done it twice because you're
And of color.
and with two males
Of
with
color.
2 males of color. So
Mhm.
let me talk about that just for a moment and then segue into recapturing the vision and why you started that. What was it like for you raising two successful males that are obviously resilient?
It was precarious at some point, simply because I saw what was happening in our society.
Mhm.
They seem to be, well, as peer reviewed researchers assert, they are the most endangered species on the planet,
Mm,
a black male.
mm,
So seeing what would happen to them, having to have those conversations about how to engage law enforcement.
mhm,
I have two bright boys, they were both in gifted programs. Seeing how they were treated. Oh, well, maybe you should not put him here yet. Well, if he qualified, why wouldn't I put him in?
mhm,
Things like that. Just seeing the racism
mhm,
regarding them. So I think that that was always at the forefront of my mind. But I made sure that I was, first of all, educated about what can I do as a parent to be better qualified to parent black males. So learning how to deal with smart kids. Dobson has a book about strong-willed children, which they both were. Learning how to parent them properly.
mhm.
I grew up in an age where your parents, there was corporal punishment. So, you were spanked all the time, or what we call you got a whooping or a beating. you know,
That's
it
switch.
sounds really bad, doesn't it? A whooping or a beating. Boy, that sounds like something from slave time. That's probably where it came from. But, anyways, I had to learn how not to break their spirit and to give them the ability to retain the wholeness of who they are as an individual, curiosity, the ability to ask questions and not become punitive because they ask a question. Just instead teaching them, how do you ask a question? If you don't like something that I've said, you have a right. I don't mind. I welcome you to question that particular rule or whatever that I'm employing. But it's how you ask. Okay,
Mhm,
mom, sure. But why is that important to you? Why are we going to do it that way?
mhm.
Not, but that's stupid. That doesn't, they knew that they couldn't do that. I'd slap them asleep.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so your boys were blessed to be raised in both parent homes.
Mhm.
So take that and address the mother who really is serious about raising children that overcome drugs and alcohol, that overcome all of the obstacles that our children are faced with today. She's a woman, single parent. What do you say to her in raising, number one, this two-part question? strong children, whether they be male or female, and strong Black males.
Okay. So I'm gonna take the question in several directions. Okay. So
Okay.
you cut me off if I go too far.
Okay.
The first thing that I would say to a single mother is first forgive yourself. I think that a lot of times we approach it from a perspective of I made some I committed some faux pas that now has caused my children to be raised without a father.
Mm-hmm.
So if you approach your relationship as a parent on that ground,
Mm-hmm.
you're not going to be the type of parent that you really need to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I would say first deal with all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Then secondly, I would say two things. Get your children used to you being very real, very transparent.
Mm-hmm.
Tell them what you did wrong. Don't try to be that perfect parent that's now trying to parent and tell someone else what not to do. Because when you can use this principle of taking the log out of your eye, you can definitely take a splinter out of someone else's.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did is I employed just open sharing. I learned to use teachable moments. So
Mm-hmm.
we'd be in the car, listening to the radio. What do you think about that? So that I can hear their thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Then I can easily address or help them to kind of shift them. And so we would have like a meeting of the minds, not me telling them, well, that, you shouldn't feel that way. And I don't want you doing this and that. I didn't want my kids to feel afraid to tell me anything.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to know if they lost their virginity, when they lost their virginity, who they wanted to hang around, when they were interested in girls. I wanted to know it all. So I had to create that sort of a relationship with them. So we were very open. We talked a lot about a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing that I did was I made sure that I found out who their friends are. So I would say, be very forward with your expectations. Researchers have found that we think that kids are more influenced by their peers, but that's not really the truth.
Mm-hmm.
First, they're influenced most by parents.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of times I think parents don't freely give their strong views about certain things because they fear that maybe the kid's not going to respect it. Not true. Share what you feel about any and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Their peers are second to parental views.
Mm-hmm.
So share, tell them what your expectations are. Tell them who they are. Give them their identity. You are a such and such. You're a Jones. This is what we do. You're going to go to school. You're going to set this example. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. This is how we handle disagreements. Because they're looking to you to tell them not only who they are, but also what they are. So, give them their boundaries and allow them the opportunity to make mistakes and just correct them, but not in a way where you go crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Make your corrections make them correlate to the level of the offense.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to already think in your head, this is for this level offense, this is for that level offense, and this is for the next level. And I would hope that you would be very composed when you're doing the first and the second level. It's okay to get a little bit more expressive when you get to that final level. The last thing that I would say would be, I would really encourage parents to have people that you build a community around your children with. And these are people that have your same views. And these are people that they can create individual relationships with. For me, for example, I had the kid's godmother. So she was someone that became very close with them. They had individual relationships where they would call her themselves. If they had a problem, they would discuss it with her. But guess what? I trusted her because she knew we shared this. We had a shared vision. And so when they would talk to her about whatever, I know that the advice that she would give them would be equivalent to what I or my husband would.
Yeah, shared values.
Yeah.
Shared values, yeah.
And a shared vision. Because she had a
Mm-hmm.
vision for how
Mm-hmm.
we share the same vision for what our children should look like,
Mm-hmm.
who they should become, as they
Mm-hmm.
continue to grow and develop.
Mm-hmm. So that's really, really good. I mean, someone asked me the same question. It was easy for me to answer that because the question was, Dr. Trimm, how do you raise children that are coming from marginalized communities? So I said that's easy for me because I grew up marginalized. And so I identify with, the steps that my mother took. And it's easy for me to say, okay, this is how we defied the odds. But you have an organization dedicated
Mhm.
not only to raising resilient children, but addressing the issue of those that are marginalized, underserved, and maybe underprivileged,
Mhm.
not just those that are coming from two-parent homes,
Mhm.
but you're able to see a vision for all children. Talk to me about when your vision started, how it started, and most people don't know you started in the educational institution. So
I
where
did.
did your vision for the Recapturing the Vision organization start? How did that start?
So for me, it was a mandate. So it was a
Mhm,
divine mandate for me. It was nothing that I really was interested in doing, but it was a mandate that God gave me. I need for you to do X, Y, and Z. And so I
mhm,
began the organization with a profile of how do we recapture the vision.
mhm,
So you talk about coming from a marginalized community. So did I. My parents were both migrant workers. But
mhm,
then my father became one of the first to be accepted into the union of
mhm,
contractors. So then I became very affluent. So I know both ends, being, living in poverty in a
mhm,
back room of someone's house,
mhm,
with three people, a three-person family, a four-person family, to then, my father becoming worth millions. And
mhm,
so I think both of those things I was able to kind of figure out, what did my parents give me? We were, dirt poor. I only had so many dresses. My mom, I couldn't go a whole week of school. She had to wash them so I could wear it again. But how did I understand that I had vision and purpose? I mean, I always saw my future. I always knew that I had something great on the inside of me and that I was going to be someone. And when I looked in the eyes of the children that I was looking at in schools in our feeder pattern, I didn't see that. I saw
mhm.
like a darkness, a dimness. They didn't care about what happened to them or anyone else because they didn't really see a bright future. So that hence, how do we recapture the vision, right? So that began my work. And what I began to do was develop curricula that was really a mixture of the things that I felt were deficits in their lives. So,
Mhm.
how do we become surrogates and now invest, inculcate those ideals or those skill sets into those populations? And that became the beginning of the different that we teach in various school districts around the country.
Mm, that's really, really good. So if a person wants to connect with you, I have a few questions, few other questions. But while we're right here, if they want to connect with you, they want to find out more about their program, where can they find you?
So if they're wanting to connect for just generally anything educational, it's R as in recapture, T as in V for vision, rtv.org. So you
Mhm.
can visit our website and reach out to me that way. If you're wanting to contact me for anything regarding parent training, you can also go to that website, or anything for relationship education or relationship help. Ask Dr. Jacquie with Q.
Wonderful. You know, you have an entire family retreat that you do every single year.
It's amazing. You haven't been yet.
Tell us about that, and I want everybody to hear that. Tell them what they walk away with, and when is the next program? God willing, the creek don't rise, the fat lady don't sing.
Right, and she hasn't even put on her dress yet. It's wrinkled, so I doubt that'll be happening. But so the family mentoring retreat is where we begin to really mentor families, and that's something that's really at the forefront of my life right now. Mentoring families, not just the children, but mom needs mentoring.
Mhm.
Big brother needs mentoring, little brother needs mentoring. So it's about taking the families away. So we do family engagements, and then this event we do when it's like over a 3 day period. So we leave on a Friday. So it starts Friday. We take them to a 5-star resort. They have like their own little condo, and we begin to embrace bonding type activities with them, visioning, family visioning, financial responsibility, parenting, healthy, developing healthy relationships, marriage education. Then they do like a lot of skill building, so that they build trust and understand who they are in regard to their position in the family. And so it's just such a mix of wonderful things. Dr. Trimm, the parents are crying. The
Mm,
kids are crying. They're creating memories that they'll keep forever. I
mm,
never really recognized that a lot of people don't even have wonderful memories with their families. So
mm.
they leave there not only with this wealth of knowledge and these different skills, but also with memories and
Yes.
the warm feelings that they've developed that go on for a lifetime.
Yeah. Those of you that are watching, you're watching Dr. Jacquie Del Rosario, Recapturing the Vision. We're going to be talking a little bit more with her just for the next few minutes, but we wanted to connect to hear that she not only is offering a lot of support for teachers as well as for school districts, not just for schools, but entire school districts. If you are a supervisor over a school district, if you're a principal and you really want this program, it's one of the best programs, I think, in the world, not just in the United States of America. You can reach out to Dr. Jacquie. We still have time for the fall semester or the fall term. And if you're looking for a program that will address moral issues, that will address, in fact, I'm going to let you tell it because you'll tell it best. But
Absolutely.
speak to the principal, speak to the supervisor, speak to even the school board, and tell them about this program. I think it's the best kept secret.
So one of the things that we do is we're mostly word of mouth, doctor,
Hmm.
and people hear about how the programs change the very complexion of the school. I
Hmm.
mean, the atmosphere in the halls is different because kids have purpose and vision, and they have they understand that they're going somewhere with their life. They're doing something about their potential, and so we're reached, and so we're usually contracted through the school district to come in. It usually starts at the district level,
Hmm.
but for example, we're supposed to be going to oh God, we're supposed to be in Atlanta schools very soon. Um, but it starts in that manner. And so what happens is we create engagement so that kids are not just going to school. We're trying to raise test scores. But when a child is coming to school, they don't have their basic necessities. They're not really interested sometimes to that level to be in nothing but academic core courses all throughout the school day.
Hmm.
But we awaken something within the kids with this program so that they really understand how important that school connection is, and they're now having a direction for their life, so they're working towards something. So
Hmm.
it changes their whole attitude and their perspective when they engage. So it creates also a peer culture in the school, so that there's core beliefs that the
Hmm.
program touts that everybody kind of buys into, and it's a peer driven program, peer to peer. So it's not like a program where we set a curriculum and we're just telling you this is what you have to do, this is what you have to believe. No, it's about discovery.
Hmm.
You began the program as a journey, that's what we call it. And the lessons are delivered in such a way that you have an opportunity to decide this is your perspective on this given issue or that one. And then you're able to kind of look at it in a hypothetical sense to figure out whether this will get you where you want to go.
Hmm.
And you can make those adjustments and
Hmm.
amend things in your life as you're going along. But when you leave your journey, you've left now with a certain direction.
Hmm.
You understand more about who you are. You
Hmm.
love more of who you are. And that's, we measure this by nationally valid tools every year to
Hmm.
see what kind of gains children are making academically, social emotional learning, what type
Hmm.
of gains are they making in that regard, to locus of control, your sense of agency, your sense of self-esteem, how well you feel about yourself. And I know that you started the program talking about resilience.
Hmm.
Those are two of the core elements that make up resilience:
Hmm.
grit, agency, and even self-esteem. That makes up about 10 of 3 of the 10 elements that contribute to your sense of resilience.
That's really, really good. You have another program, Man of Valor,
Men of vision.
Man of Vision,
Men of
Man
vision.
of Vision. That's it.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about Man of Vision, and this is especially for parents because a lot of times we think we're only talking about the school and the school district, but Man of Vision,
Vision.
Men of Vision.
MOV.
Okay, Men of Vision. And I want to talk to you about that. And then I want you to talk to parents and what they can do with this program because there's a lot of parents that are homeschooling now.
Yes.
Is this program available for
It
homeschooling and
it is.
and what is the age groupings?
So we have a suite of programs that start from third grade all the way up to young adulthood. So
Mhm.
there's various programs. So for elementary, we have Raise It.
Mhm.
for raise the
Mhm.
standard, a curricula. Then we have for middle schools, we have gender responsive. So you have capturing the vision, and you have I am success. I am
Mhm.
success. We used in New York School District, and so for our gender responsive courses, you have men of vision and you have women of vision,
Mhm.
and those teach the same core elements, but
Mhm.
they're taught in gender responsive ways, because
Mhm.
there's a different way that I need to teach self-esteem to a male than
Mhm.
I'm going to teach it to a female,
Mhm.
and so it takes that into consideration. So
Mhm.
the parents, we have parents that are using it for homeschool. We have parents that order our materials and go through our training, and they work with their children even outside of homeschooling.
Mhm.
Just parents that do it on their own.
Dr.
So
Jacquie, what about, I'm thinking broad because there's a lot of churches now that are saying we need more programs and they're looking for programs. Can you address the pastors, the youth leaders, and tell them the worth of this program?
oh, sure. Well, one of the first things, because, I'm an ordained minister as well, and just an apostle, prophet called, and this is why I do what I do at Recapturing the Vision. But one of the things that the kids have often said to me, because we work with a lot of parents, children, pastors' children, and
Mhm.
churches as well, they'll say, I church and I understand I want to do the right thing. And I understand this scripture, but what does it look like in my life? And that's what I would say, Dr. Trimm. The
Mhm.
curricula really makes what are the kingdom principles livable and lifelike in the 21st century,
Mhm.
right? So they kind of understand, how does this look? What does this look like in real life today? Not talking
Mhm.
about what Abraham did, thousands of years ago, but how does this look in today's time? And so the
Mhm.
kids are given those what we call life lessons, so
Mhm.
they're able to negotiate their choices and learn to make the right ones.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I
Those
think for
of you that
pastors, it would be a very good resource.
Yeah, and those of you that are looking for programs, again, this is an excellent program. I sit on the board of directors, so it's not that it's just for secular education. It's for educating our children. Period.
But
Wherever
now,
they're educated, whether it's socially within the home, whether it's spiritually within places of worship, whether it is formal education, this program is absolutely awesome. And I would strongly suggest those of you that are in youth ministries, those of you that are pastors, those of you that are involved in social agencies and organizations, nonprofit organizations that are dedicated to raising resilient children and supporting them in their journeys, in their life journeys, this would be an excellent program for you to invest in. And Dr. Jacquie is available, her staff are available. How can they reach you even if they wanted to call you?
if they wanted to call me, wow. Well, I'd say
Your
definitely,
office number.
okay, 305 two
Mhm.
three two 6003. Again,
Can you
that's
say it
three
again?
zero five
Mhm.
305 area code for Miami,
Mhm.
232 six
Mhm.
zero zero three.
Yeah, because there's some people that are like me. I would rather pick up the telephone.
And do it.
But if you're the type of person that wants to pick up the telephone, you have the number that's there. Then also rtv.org. And even if you Google, I just got on my telephone, hit and talk to
Recapturing the vision.
story, and I said recapturing the vision. Bam, there it was. But you should research this. Those of you that are looking for alternative programs that will really undergird your children, it may not be in the school systems that your children are currently in, but you can consider raising your children, using it on a weekend, bringing the children in the community. Those of you that are community minded, you could start your own program right there in your community. And I know a number of individuals from around the world that are writing, and people Rebecca said, I was looking for something like this. Um, uh, Jennifer, that's a nice way to spell Jennifer, Janipher. Jennifer is looking. Rita said it's an amazing program. Rebecca, again, destined for greatness. Being quarantined caused this broadcast to be aired. Uh, Monique is saying, thank you for this time. Uh, Angela is saying, please type and post. Dr. Jackie, give it to me one more time. 305.
232
Uh-huh.
6003.
600.
And the website is www.rtv.org.
rtv.org.
And here's another thing. There's a lot of churches that have outreach programs.
Yeah.
It's a way to really reach the lost, reach the community at large. A lot of churches have programs that reach college age students. They reach kids that are in schools. And
Hmm.
I think that this is a time for us to really look at more innovative ways of getting beyond the
Yeah.
four walls into the highways and the byways.
Yeah.
And, churches have really gotten out of the business of education. And it's unfortunate
Hmm.
because we've kind of left this chasm there.
Now it's time
But
to
we can fill it.
recapture the vision.
There you go, girl. Recapture the vision.
Yes, let's recapture it, guys. Let's recapture the vision. Dr. Jackie, would you agree to come back on one more time? Because there's so many questions that people have, and I'd like to answer some of the questions, but they are saying thank you. A very informative session from Gina. Claudia, She's retweeting that. Tay said, thank you so much for the time and for much inspiration. Tyrese is thanking you, and how important it is for parents to have this information. And those of you that are tuning in, thank you so much, Dr. Jackie. I want to give you the final words. I want to give the final words
Good.
as much time as you want to, and then once again, leave them with ways that they can connect with you. And the
Okay.
next time we'll dig a little deeper.
I forgot to answer this part. You said give some information to parents of single moms that are raising black males or males
Yes.
of color. And this is the main thing that I would say. Remember this, they don't tell you this, but when your son becomes of a certain age, usually when he's going into puberty, so we're talking about post puberty, usually around 12, 13, 14 years old, they naturally, innately need a male model.
Hmm.
So a lot of times a woman will try to do that. There's people that God is going to have in your environment for them that would be good mentors and role models to kind of teach them how to connect with that maleness within them. And so it might be a janitor at the school. It might be someone, I don't know. It might be your own father, their grandfather.
Hmm.
But I would say I would really, really prompt you to find whoever this other male figure is going to be that you can kind of put them together with. It's so necessary. And their male formation, which is an actual correct term, a psychological term, they have male formation when they're in their later teens. And
Hmm.
that male formation is really what solidifies them as a man. It teaches them how to be a man. What is a man? What does a man do? What a man does not do. And
Hmm.
so it's a lot about that participatory learning process that they
Hmm.
go through. So they're going to really need that. And you can't always be the best man.
Hmm.
Listen, we have the equipment to be woman.
Yes.
And that's enough. That's a lot. But I think that we need to look in our environment and find out who else can help us. That village notion, I think, is really powerful. And
Hmm.
sometimes because we're not looking for it, or we have not because we've not asked.
Yes. Yes. So, Dr. Jackie, there's so much that's coming out of this. We haven't touched on men of valor, but your last point is so important. If I could float that as a balloon to begin to talk about what our Black males need, and invite you back. I think that will be a great conversation to have, particularly for single women that are raising and giving them that are raising young Black males and giving them the tools and some suggestions would be
And even women that are dating black males.
yes.
That
So
whole black male thing. So
let's
yes.
have another conversation if you would agree with it. I know we're going to get a lot of feedback, but I want to thank you. You're going on another interview, so I don't want to take too much of your time, but I want to thank you for being with us. Once again, I want to give you the last words by way of telling us one more time social media. how do we connect with you on social media? And then we're going to bid goodbye.
IG, Ask Dr. Jackie with a Q, JACQUIE.
Mhm.
Recapturing the Vision at www.r as in recapture, T as in the, V as in vision.org. My office number 305-232-6003. Thank you so much for having me, doctor.
Thank you. Thank you
Love
so
and
much.
kisses, bear hug.
Influencer, author, and a global leader. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. This is Dr. Jacquie Del Rosario. You could visit her. She gave you all the information. She has nothing but resources and books, a lot of books. So until we meet again, goodbye for now.
Bye bye.
Thank you.